Don't castle into this Sicilian trap. Chess opening setup, fast voice. White plays king pawn to e4. Black responds with pawn to c5, Sicilian defense. White develops knight to f3. Black plays pawn to d6. White pushes pawn to d4. Black captures with c-pawn. White recaptures with the knight. Black develops knight to f6. White develops knight to c3. Black plays pawn to a6, Najdorf. White brings bishop to g5. Black supports center with pawn to e6. White attacks with pawn to f4. Black plays queen to b6. Skull poison pawn. White plays queen to d2. Black captures the pawn with queen takes b2. White attacks with rook to b1. Black queen escapes to a3. White heavy checkmark. Important idea. Black distracts white and gains time. Fire center opens. White pushes pawn to e5. Black captures with the d-pawn. White recaptures with the f-pawn. Black retreats knight to d7. White centralizes knight to e4. Fishing pole begins. Black plays pawn to h6, attacking the bishop. White moves bishop to h4. Collision now the key move. Black pushes pawn to g5. White heavy checkmark. This is the fishing pole. Black prepares a kingside attack. White retreats bishop to g3. Black develops bishop to b4. White blocks with pawn to c3. Black retreats bishop to e7. White develops bishop to e2. Bomb pawn storm. Black pushes pawn to h5. White tries to stop it with pawn to h3. Black pushes pawn to h4. White heavy checkmark. Important. The bishop is stuck in the corner. White moves bishop to h2. Black develops knight to c6. White moves knight to f3. Black brings queen to a4. Attack is building. White plays bishop to d3. Rocket the breakthrough. Black pushes pawn to g4. White captures with pawn takes g4. Black pushes pawn to h3. White captures with pawn takes h3. Collision now the killer move. Black plays rook takes h3. White heavy checkmark. The h-file is open. White king is in danger. Skull final attack. White castles king to g1. Black sacrifices with knight takes e5. White captures with knight takes e5. Black recaptures with knight takes e5. White captures with bishop takes e5. Fire final blow. Black plays rook takes d3. White's defense collapses. Game over.